Ben Spicer here at Kickoff in Florida, DR7. I'm joined by a special guest, Coach Arlo Henderson. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad I could be here today. I really appreciate the opportunity. Stefan's one of my closest friends, been friends since like 11, 12 years old. So to watch this thing blow up and become what it is and get the opportunity to these young people is something I can't tell you how good it feels to be a player and to watch these young people having their dreams kind of grow up. So it's great to be here, man. I appreciate it.
I don't mean to undersell it. To say you have an extensive football background, I think would be selling you a little short. You see on the jacket there, NFL alumni, you played at the highest level, you have a lot of different ties to the game of football. Just tell us a little bit about your background as quickly as you can, because I know you go deep into it.
I'll be quick. Played high school football in St. Louis. I was a quarterback and linebacker. Ended up getting a scholarship to go play at Mississippi Valley State University, where Jerry Rice played. I had the benefit of having his quarterback as my quarterback and position coach. When I got there, I learned so much about football during that time period, but I really got a chance to understand what it took to be great. And I think what I learned at Mississippi Valley State was the resourcefulness it takes to really be an outstanding football player. And then my little chance at pro football didn't last very long. I got hurt right away. But I get a chance to be an NFL agent for about 9 years, and I coached at the high school, collegiate level, all the way through. Coached at the Rams youth training facility in St. Louis for a while. I had a chance to coach a 7,000-yard rusher in high school. But I think my greatest fun right now for me is coaching the women's tackle football team in Tampa, the Tampa Bay Inferno. And it's really an interesting perspective. I got ex-NFL guys out there coaching with me, and we're getting a chance to teach football to people who've never really been on the field before. I had a young lady at practice 2 days ago, was like her third time putting on cleats in her entire life. So when you get a chance to teach football that way and be a part of it for as long as I've been a part of it, 20 years as a player, like 18, 20 years as a coach, agent, and other things, you really learn to appreciate the game and all the aspects it develops as a person and what it does for like society, just giving us a better human being to walk around with people that really care about and understand teamwork and trust.
I definitely want to talk a little bit about women's football, but first I'm curious, because 7-on-7 football, you didn't have that when you were around. That's changed the game,
that was
obviously.
Like 15 minutes of practice.
That's changed the game in a lot of ways.
It
so
has.
Just how do you think it's beneficial, and what do you think it does for athletes to get involved in the 7-on-7 run?
I'm going to tell you what, football has changed so much over the last 20 or 30 years. When I started playing football, toughness was like the #1 qualifier. So basically you weeded out a lot of great players who just couldn't handle maybe some of the physicality at the younger ages. And later on, you're a track person, you might have converted over later on, but 7-on-7 gives players an opportunity to touch the ball. Everybody gets a chance to touch the ball. You get a chance to develop quarterbacks, leadership, some of the things that you can't really write down on a piece of paper, the leadership skills it takes to manage a huddle, to handle time and situational football. Right. We got 2 minutes left, we're this many down the distance, those kind of things. Some of the things you just don't have time to teach in school. So it allows coaches, a high school coach, the players that I have from 7-on-7 came in with a brand of football that was a little bit more elusive, a little bit more aggressive at the point of attack for the ball. They had better field vision, yard after the catch. They caught the ball with the anticipation of running afterwards. So it really was an interesting developmental tool. But I think that really it's one of those things where if we really look at it and start to invest in it and really start to encourage players, even if you're not a football player, just to get around it and be around it, you have an appreciation for the game that is hard to acquire if you're not into the contact part of the game. So learning how to learn the X's and O's of football, understanding the speed, the spacing, some of the things you just can't get without the contact. I think 7-on-7 has been a great tool to help develop some really outstanding skill players like we see in the NFL today. Some of these players are doing things we never imagined. I'm talking to guys that played my era. We're looking at these guys going, man, some of these things Tyreek Hill does, and then Alvin Kamara, those guys, you start to see some of the things these players are able to do, and you're like, wow, if we had that opportunity to do that, we might have been a little bit more creative. It's like watching Michael Jordan before this Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan doesn't have Michael Jordan to watch.
Right.
So we get a chance to watch 7-on-7 now and watch some of these kids do some things with the ball and some of their aerial, things that they're doing, playing with their feet off the ground, which some we were taught never to do. And we're learning to watch these players teach us more about the game than we probably even knew ourselves. But I think it's an incredible tool for anybody to use, from an athlete that just wants to get better at their sport, but more importantly for football players that really want to develop some of the skills that you really don't have time to teach at a high school, little league practice. 7-on-7 gives you a chance to really develop players in a different way.
To circle back around, you're obviously on the forefronts of the women's game, something that's growing rapidly, especially at the youth level. What do you think the future holds for women in football?
I'm going to tell you, if you'd have asked me about 2 years ago, I would have thought none possible, right? I get a phone call, by email, I think it was about 3 months ago, from NFL alumni, and I was a membership director for a while. I've been kind of backing off because of other things I had to do, but I got an email from them about this women's team, so I said, let me just take a look at it. My daughter always wanted to play football and never had a chance. So I call over there and I talk to, we have a meeting, and 2 months into this thing and I'm the head coach. So what I found was it's the purest football I've been around in most of my life.
Wow.
I mean, they come with their cups empty. They want to hear and learn everything from you. There's not a lot of bad habits to unteach. And most importantly, they want to get better. So today we had Kelvin Kenny, who's like, I think he was a leading sack guy in XFL one year, won 5 championships, 3 in Canada, 2 in arena football. And Kelvin Kenny came out today, coached D-line. And we've had a lot of other, Andre Kerwin got a Grey Cup championship. We've had Kenny Steele Sr. come out and coach, got DBs now. So we're bringing our NFL guys out, and we're out coaching. And what we found is these players have such an opportunity to teach us the game the way women's basketball has taught us the game. So if you watch women's college basketball today, it's a really pure version of basketball. You get to see people really using the fundamentals of the game, because it's not that the athleticism isn't there, it's that they're relying on their strength. They're better technique, they have better effort, they're better technicians, and they adhere to the fundamentals of the game much more stronger than we do. So we're watching the game develop at a much faster pace in a different way. And coaching women's football is doing the same thing. We're getting the chance to watch really fundamentally sound football. And the way we're teaching it allows us to really teach and slow the game down a little bit. We put all the install on the front end and the individuals on the back end, so we could teach them the concepts around football, situational football, and then get down to the nitty gritty and teach other things. But where I see it going is, if we can get young girls to start playing 7-on-7 and start to get introduced to the game in their world, not have to go play somebody else's game, right? I get to play my version of football. They get to go out and play their game. We start to see women do what we know they can do, which is everything a man can do. But they shouldn't have to deal with some of the challenges on the way up, the growth spurts, even as men. You know, middle school is tough for everybody because we're all different sizes. Some people are growing. This is an opportunity for them to develop as players, develop as athletes. I mean, most of the athletes on my team, I got college track stars, I got softball national champions, I got professional softball players, tennis players, volleyball players, everything you can think of, like power lifters. Because football is one of those sports where there's so many different positions. You don't have to be one body type or one size. Or you can do all these things. It gives a chance to people who may not be a tall basketball player or may not be a soccer player, but it gives you, it's the world you can play in, compete, have that camaraderie, and the family atmosphere is just unbelievable. I think if we get women involved in the game in the early stages through things like 7-on-7 at the youth level, we'll start to see the game become safer. First and foremost, it'll become cleaner. We'll get a better brand of football, and we'll start to challenge the men's version of football to, hey, listen, you guys are doing all this, fancy stuff. Why don't you get better at your fundamentals and watch the game play the way it's supposed to be played? So to me, I think it's one of those great opportunities for us to once again look at diversity and inclusion in a different way, just something we haven't thought about in a while.
Coach, you got me fired up. I appreciate you coming out here supporting kickoff in Florida. So how can the folks watching this support you and all your endeavors?
Listen, if you want to check me out online, I'm at switchoncoach.com. I do health and wellness coaching. I help you do a lot of motivation things. Wrote a couple books. The stomach eraser. I lost like 70 pounds. So when I stopped playing, I had a lot of other stuff going on in my life and let my physical body get away from it. But this was one of those things that really opened my eyes. So I wrote the book, The Stomach Eraser, to help people with that. I wrote a book called The VIP Life, which also helps you understand how to really focus in on what's important in your life and reach your goals. So if you want to check those two things out, you can check it on Amazon and or just go to switchoncoach.com, get all the information you want, my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. But really, I'm just here to help people. So anything I can do to help you, reach out to me. I'd love to do it. That's what I do. I'm a coach in every aspect of my life. But more importantly, I just love helping people, man. I've been blessed my whole life with great people around me, mentoring me. Stefan, to tell you, we had great coaches in high school, great mentors all around us our entire lives, and it really made the difference for me as a man. So having an opportunity to be able to give that back to other people is just, something I just cherish every opportunity to do it. So.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and thank you guys for watching.
Well, thank you for letting me be here. I appreciate it.